What if pain isn't the problem, but actually the pathway back to you? You're listening to The Leadership Wound, From Pain to Permission. I'm Amanda Rohr, your host and founder of Authentically You, coaching for embodied spiritual living and leading. This is where we get honest about the real cost of leadership, the burnout, the pretending, the rejection, and the return to your authentic self. Because this isn't about performance, it's about permission. Welcome to the leader you've always been. A new way of living and leading that would honor both who I had been and who I was becoming. And yet, even with all of that clarity, I hesitated because, like so many people in leadership, I thought I needed someone else's permission to say yes. Welcome back to The Leadership Wound, where we name the hidden cost of leadership and the invitation to lead from your true self. If you've been walking with us in this new series entitled The New Rules of Self-Leadership, you've known that we're exploring the anchors of authentic self-leadership, which are clarity on your why, decision rooted in alignment and not performance, and identity as who you are becoming, not just who you've been in the past. And today, we bring it all together with one truth, and that is, you don't need permission to say yes. This episode is about what happens when you stop waiting for motivation and you stop waiting for others to give permission to you to do what has been stirring within you. Let me take you back to a quiet retreat house in Florida where it all began for me. No responsibilities, no relationships to tend, just me, Jesus, and a little shopping. I was in Miami after all. But in that quiet space, something sacred happened. God began to stir something I couldn't ignore. It was a vision that would draw on every season of ministry and leadership. But it would take shape in a brand new way. Not in a pulpit, not in a job title, but in the form of coaching. And in that stillness, I heard it so clearly. This isn't about a career move, Amanda. This is about a co-vocational calling, a new way of living and leading that would honor both who I had been and who I was becoming. And yet, even with all of that clarity, I hesitated because, like so many people in leadership, I thought I needed someone else's permission to say yes. Here's what I learned. Clarity on your why is essential. It's the first part of stepping forward into your authentic self. Without it, your life starts to feel like it belongs to everyone but you, shaped by expectations, shoulds, and survival mode. Your why isn't about your goals. It's about who you want to be, how you want to show up in the world, what truly matters at the deepest level. When you connect with that, your decisions begin to shift. Your actions begin to be aligned, and your leadership starts to reflect your integrity, not just your effort. But clarity alone isn't enough. It demands a response. For years, I wrestled with this tension between humility and ambition. Somewhere along the way, I had internalized this lie. If other people were uncomfortable, I must be wrong. If I stepped out boldly, it would look like self-promotion. That obedience was passive, quiet, and safe. But in that quiet retreat house, something inside me broke. You don't need permission, Amanda, to be obedient to the things that I've placed in your heart. It was like a spiritual reorientation, a moment of divine disruption. God wasn't asking me to prove myself. He was asking me to say yes. And so I did. Not because I had all the answers. I surely did not. Not because I felt fully ready. I didn't. But because I trusted the one who was calling me. Like Samuel, who heard the voice of God while others heard nothing, I had to choose obedience, even if I was the only one who understood it and who heard it. This yes led me to create a coaching practice that wasn't just about tools, but about transformation. It gave me the space to help leaders untangle old narratives, confront hidden wounds, and reimagine what faithful, spirit-led leadership could look like in their lives. But more than anything, coaching gave me something I couldn't find on my own: perspective beyond my current circumstances, permission to prioritize my own growth, and support to navigate fear, uncertainty, and resistance. And now that's what I offer to others, because I've lived the cost of waiting, and I'm tired of waiting for motivation to show up. I now live out my true identity, and I stop waiting for motivation to show up. I've wrestled with that voice that says, "Who do you think you are? What are you doing?" And I've learned when God calls you forward, the most faithful response isn't hesitation or waiting for all the stars to align. It's to move forward. The task is reframing, seeing new possibilities in the midst of old hopelessness. Walter Brueggemann in the book Prophetic Imagination says, the task is about reframing, seeing a new possibility in the midst of the old hopelessness. The prophet does not ask if the vision can be implemented, for questions of implementation are of no consequence until the vision can be imagined. You don't have to know every step. You don't have to see it all before you begin. You just have to imagine what it could be and take the next right step. This is the kind of prophetic imagination I long to hold space for in my coaching, the kind that gives birth to new ways of living and leading. And it all starts with being clear on your why. And from that, decisions move you forward. Your identity is built on your actions that are reflecting who you are and who you are becoming. This is what happens when you stop waiting and start leading from your yes, rather than waiting for others to get on board. Let me ask you some questions as we close. What clarity do you already have that you're pretending you don't have and that you need to say yes to? What decisions have been circling around, and instead of making them, you keep waiting for the motivation to come around? And lastly, what would your future self tell you to be doing now if you could see how all the pieces fit together? Remember, you don't need a title. You don't need approval. You don't need the perfect conditions to say yes to what God has already given you permission to do. You just need to trust the God who placed that calling in you in the first place. If you feel stuck in any one of these areas, clarity on your why, making decisions that come from alignment, and knowing your identity, I want to invite you to take one small, courageous step. Book a free growth plan consult at authenticallyu.org. Together, we'll name the clarity you're already carrying, but just need a little bit of support. We'll uncover what's been keeping you from stepping forward into all that God has for you. And we'll design a plan rooted in your why and not in fear. And while you're there, download my free morning meditation. It's a simple, sacred way to return to your true self and start your day off right, reminding yourself you don't need to have permission to be who God has already called you to be. Thanks so much for tuning in to The Leadership Wound. I'm so glad you're here. I'm honored to walk with you in this journey. If you're ready to stop performing and start leading authentically, hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. You can follow along on Instagram, Facebook, or at my website for free resources and to learn how you can live and lead more in your true self. Until next time, lead like you.